Hey everybody, this is Matthew Soltesiak, and you're listening to Not the Same Old Lions podcast, part of the Minute Media Podcast Network. The Detroit Lions are now in a new, grittier era, and we look beyond just the kneecaps when it comes to the analysis. I speak with a variety of guests and interview key players, gaining more insight on what makes this team go. Welcome to another episode. Welcome to episode 208, where we discuss the Detroit Lions joint practice with the Houston Texans. After dominating Miami last week, was it more of the same or something a little bit different? We'll talk about that, plus get final thoughts on that 53-man roster as training camp is drawing to a close. And to do so, we're going to get some help from a Detroit Lions beat writer who was at practice. That is MLive's Ben Raven. That and more. Let's get to it, Lions fans.
Hey everyone, this is Lomas Brown, and you're listening to Not the Same Old Lions podcast.
Joining me today is Detroit Lions beat writer for MLive, Ben Raven. Ben also does the Dungeon of Doom podcast along with Corey Woods. I spoke with Corey outside of Ford Field before a Lions game last year, and now I'm excited to be speaking with Ben. Thank you for putting in the hours and making today happen, Ben.
No, absolutely. 9 p.m. for those listening. Yeah, he waited for me to get out of class and bent with the schedule. And anybody that will do that, I'll be flexible for, no doubt about it.
Greatly appreciated. Well, I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's the end of training camp. I mean, we're one preseason game away from training camp being over. I was out of the joint practice last week against Miami. We saw quite a show that Wednesday. Today, the Lions had a joint practice with Houston, and from what I've read and heard, it sounds like it was much more balanced than it was with Miami, and that's probably a good thing on many different levels. And so the broad question is, what did you see at camp today? Very broad, so let me get a little bit more specific. Let's start with the offensive line. Were they still giving Jared Goff enough time to throw, and how did Jared look?
Jared was one of the high points for the offense. It was back and forth. I called it a push. I watched the offense today. I spent my day watching the offense. Okay. The offensive line, the pass protection was good, but having somebody like Will Anderson going against you, I mean, he hit a pretty wild inside-outside swim, and then to beat Sewell, of all people, and then a Superman dive to knock the ball out of Goff's hands with a forced fumble. So the competition was much better this week. I would say the Texans are going to be much better than the Dolphins this year, but yeah, Goff was great, fired some lasers. I mean, there were some drops today. That was the main thing. There were some drops today, and drops on potential touchdowns too. And like J-Mo J-Mo made a heck of a catch today about 38 yards out, but he didn't get it in. He also dropped a touchdown early. Khalif Raymond dropped a touchdown with nothing but green grass in front of him, but still, no disasters. It was just a good team going against a good team was my main takeaway. And it was like, all right, this is what this is supposed to look like, not utter, complete, flawless victory like it was against the Dolphins.
And then that's good, too, for the Lions, because if you're just practicing against a team like that and just dominating, you're not getting better yourself. You're gaining your confidence, which is what the offense did last week. They probably needed it. But let's start with the offensive line. Obviously, the news a lot of people are worried about is the Graham Glasgow injury, which I don't presume there's any new information out on that yet. But you were there. What did you see?
Man, talk about just bad luck. It was literally the last situational drill, the last drill for the Lions offense of the day. All I saw was Graham Glasgow kind of on all fours, trying to get up, couldn't get up, was helped off the field, was not walking very well on it. No new information other than the Lions said they are evaluating him for a lower leg injury. Obviously, that would be a pretty big blow, and we recorded our Dungeon of Doom pod earlier today, too, and I was like, I'm sorry, guys. I asked Dan about the Planet Backup Center 2 days ago. I didn't think this was going to happen. I just wanted to know if it was Tate or if someone like Kingsley had a shot, and now we're about to find out, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I listened to that. If I'm not mistaken, I think you're thinking Kingsley might be getting a shot at that spot.
I think I would let Tate stay at guard. I think it's hard to read between the lines on coach speak, but I have seen growth from Kingsley this camp. Now, starting center growth, no, absolutely not, but I think it could be serviceable enough. He has grown. Dan Campbell has complete confidence in his mental side of the game. He's a little undersized girth-wise for a center, but yeah, this is kind of I'm not trying to write Graham off either. Like, we don't know. It could be back next week. Who knows? But like, going into week 1 with a big question mark there after Frank Ragnow retires and the Tate brief trial run kind of ended before pads went on, and it's been all Graham first team offense at center, and it was Kingsley to go in for Graham when he went down. And I'm just curious because they said they need to get Tate more reps at center, and that should be the focus of next week, I would say, because there is, I mean, in a better offensive line talent-wise would be Coyote Awashika sliding in at guard and Tate going to the center, but I just don't know if they want to interrupt the real growth that Tate has made at right guard next to Sewell. So it's a tough situation. Yeah, we're going to be anxiously awaiting to hear more from Graham, and I don't think we'll hear more from him about him until after the game on Saturday. That's the next time we talk to Dan.
Yeah, and it's a reminder that depth is extremely important on the offensive line, and so the center position. But then we also need to know about the tackles and the guards. And there's been a lot of question on who's going to be that third tackle. Now, Skipper is kind of the leading candidate, it seems. But I know Jamarco Jones is a guy that people are looking at. And is that the guy you're thinking might be? Or what did you see? I guess we can look at the roster stuff in a bit. But at camp, did you see anybody making any strides or any progress at the tackle spot?
I do think it'll be Dan Skipper to start the season. But I think Gio Manu has made enough progress to where you could at least see how that looks. I think it'll be Skipper, like as that third tackle and in those big sets. But if something were to happen to Skipper or another tackle and he had to go fill a role like he did the last 5 years, it feels like, then I think you could see what Manu has. Like Jamarco's been banged up off and on. Okay. He didn't leave today, but he got banged up again today, stayed out on the field and limped past us as we were waiting to talk to players. But, yeah, if Jamarco was fully healthy, I think it would be him behind Skipper. But I'm kind of the thinking, like, Manu doesn't have to be a healthy scratch every game this year. I think he has improved enough, especially in the run blocking is where I really wanted to see him improve. Like the pass pro, he gets away with a lot because of his length and the size and the athleticism. The meanness, the intensity, you don't see it in run blocking, but you see him getting cleaner. You see there's been real work with him, like really hands-on work. And I got to give credit, not just to Hank Fraley, but guys like Taylor Decker. You see Decker working with him one-on-one. They walk off the field together. Manu goes to him after he's in there. Hey, what's up? What did you see? He goes up to Hutchinson. Hey, why'd you just beat me so bad? What happened right there? And I really do think there's been enough growth that he could be the break glass in case of emergency and dressed on Sundays if they need it. Like, get him some special teams rep, get him on the field. I think he's made enough ground to at least not be a healthy scratch every game this year.
Well, that would be encouraging and very, for multiple reasons, the progress, but then also the improved depth on the tackle position, because that's been an area that there was no room for error, it felt like, the last couple of years. The guard position, I've been a big fan of Coyote Awashika ever since he filled in, I believe it was a Tampa game in the playoffs. And I heard he hasn't had the greatest camp from some reports, but I haven't seen anything with my own eyes. When I was there, I saw the offense, but I didn't get a good look at the offensive line. I believe, is he still the top backup at the guard position, or how is that looking, and who have you seen maybe take some step forward in the interior line?
It's Coyote. It's Coyote as the top backup guard. Like if Tate goes to center or if anything happens to one of the guards, it'll be Coyote. Like there's a lot of trust in that building in him, and I think, like you said, I think he's a lot better than he gets credit for too. Like that is really a nice plug and fill a spot kind of guy to have. Like I think there is some trust in him. They don't want him starting, but like if it came down to it, I think he would be that first guy up at a guard spot for sure.
All right, well then let's turn back to the signal caller position here, which has been like other than defensive end, has probably been the most talked about position this whole offseason on social media. And it's Kyle Allen and Hendon Hooker. Entering the camp, it was Hendon Hooker is probably the number 2, and Kyle Allen's brought in for the 3. Obviously we've seen those totally reversed. We've seen Kyle Allen actually look very competent as a backup. I've said in multiple episodes, he looks like one of the best backups we've had in 10 years, and a guy that could actually just go in and actually still win a game for you, which has been a rarity for the backup position. How did Kyle and Hendon look today in camp?
Very limited looks for Hendon, but Kyle Allen, he's got a nice rapport with Tesla. He's gotten, I mean, Tim Patrick worked with the twos. He's been back this week. Had some good looks out of Tim Patrick too. Kyle Allen looks like a veteran quarterback. He's not going to will you to victory. He's not going to be nearly as good as Goff, but like he is, it's unbelievable how this QB2 conversation has gone, because you enter, you're like, all right, it's Hendon's to lose, no doubt. Flash forward 10 days into training camp, and it's like, is Hendon going to have a spot on this roster? What do they do here? It is Kyle Allen by a mile at QB2. I mean, it really is. If anything were to happen to Goff, it would be Kyle Allen going in that game, whether for filling in for a game or multiple weeks, because he can operate the offense. And he just seems to, like I said, he just looks like a veteran quarterback. And that's exactly what they want. Get the checks in. Don't freak out. Ball security. Like, seriously, outside of the Hall of Fame game and those 2 picks in the first quarter, he's been clean. It's been really clean for him. While Hendon gets out of the pocket, that ball starts coming out a little wide, and it just, yeah, it's a really interesting discussion, because I know what I would do, but I think Brad Holmes is probably going to keep Hendon as QB3. Like, I really do think that, but I'm honestly at the point where I'm like, I think you could let him go and let someone else claim him, pick up a practice squad quarterback, and figure.
Well, I'm going to get back to you on that when we talk about that 53-man roster.
Yeah.
Because I do want those insights. But you already brought up wide receivers a little bit. I'm kind of interested in, how did they look against Miami? It sounded like there were some good things and some bad things. But then you also mentioned his name. A lot of people want to know, how did Tim Patrick look? Because when I was there last week, he had a uniform on but no helmet and was not practicing. And that guy's name is coming up more and more for a variety of reasons. But, how did he look, and how did the rest of the receiving corps do?
Good week for Tim Patrick, honestly. Had a great practice Monday, his first real team drills back. Was good in the scrimmage on Tuesday. Been working with the twos as he gets back with Tesla, who still isn't taking those 1 reps. But it has been a very good week for Tim Patrick. Had 2 or 3 nice catches today. I mean, like I said, Kyle Allen, he doesn't hesitate. He puts it up for those guys. And you see Patrick running those Josh Reynolds routes, those go up, use your length, physical. I really think he's still the wide receiver 3 to start the season. And I think this last week, like I said it earlier, like I think his week and a half of rest, not doing full team drills, I think it benefited him. I think it benefited every single receiver on that group. But yeah, the receivers overall today, St. Brown's a stud. J-Mo was cooking people, had some drops, had some bad moments, but like the way he's getting open and the way he did bounce back at the end of practice with a couple of nice back-to-back first down grabs, encouraging. Like their top 2 wide receivers are unbelievable. Like it's an unbelievable kind of combination of just different skill sets and personalities, and it really works really well. And then Tesla is real. Like Tesla is real. Like he needs to have some sub packages in week 1. I don't care if Tim Patrick's still wide receiver 3. I don't care if Raymond's still ahead of him. He needs to be on the field week 1. Like there's real talent there, and he makes that passing attack better.
Yeah, I think his progression is like, you listen to a show and like fast forward, he's like 1.75 speed progressed. People are like, oh, the second half of the season, we don't need him for much, and he'll just progress slowly. And he's speeding up that clock. And so it wouldn't shock me either to see some sub packages and have him involved somehow much earlier than expected.
Yeah. I mean, the best thing about him is that the second the pads went on, he started looking better. So like, that's exactly what you want to hear. I mean, he had a great contested catch today. He had an over the middle short catch today that he took 15 yards to the house just on his yak ability. I mean, he's big, he's strong, he's not afraid. You saw the fire against Miami, and you just, I mean, seriously, when he got his helmet ripped off, it was like, oh, he's got some fire, and he's not afraid of nothing. He fits so well. I mean, he really does fit so well. And the one thing I've been trying to say to fans is don't freak out if Tim Patrick's out repping him in the beginning of the season. Like that's okay. That's okay. But Tesla is coming, and there's no way. I mean, he's almost undeniably going to get some reps in week 1. I mean, he is 100% earned it. I just want to see him start working with the first team offense more. Like you want to see him working with Goff more, and that's been very few and far between.
Okay. Well, that's encouraging to hear, though, about the receivers getting the separation and making some plays, because we saw that all day against Miami. Yeah. And to see it again against another potentially better defense is good to see. The running game, though, I heard that might have been a little bit slower moving today.
Yeah, just the between the tackle stuff, because there was a red zone drill where Gibbs had a 20-yard touchdown run. He had a 15-yard run. I mean, there were some. It was a little better than I saw some people talking about, but that was mainly because Jahmyr Gibbs is a freak athlete. I mean, there were some good blocking moments. I mean, Decker got out in front on a pulling look. Mahogany had two really good moments, like leading the way for Gibbs, and the 20-yard touchdown I mentioned. Brock Wright handled two defenders, sealed two defenders with one swoop, barely got moved off the line. And I mean, that's all you need to do for Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, seriously, like I keep saying it, like Monty's going to be a vital part of this offense, but I really do think you're going to see about 5 to 10% more Jahmyr Gibbs. And I just think he could be the best running back in the league by the end of the season. Like he's just that kind of guy.
Yeah, and some people might think he already is. That's up for debate.
Mm-hmm. I've been telling people, they're like, what would you do in a fantasy draft at number 1? I was like, Gibbs, Barkley, like toss up. Honestly, I know Bijan gets a lot of love, but like, Gibbs is gonna. You just see the passing aspect of his game growing too. I mean, he opened practice, second play of the whole practice, Texas route, wide open, 20-yard touchdown, bam. Like it's he's a superstar. I mean, that's a superstar.
Well, that leads me perfect into the next question: is insights on the formation the Lions ran? Because when I was there, I mean, it was a lot of shotgun. There was a time they had a receiver lined up out wide, and then not a receiver, a running back. I think it was Gibbs. And then pre-snap motion, they bring him back into the backfield. Do you think we're going to see a lot more variety this year than Goff under center so much? I know we've heard a lot of talk about the two-back sets. What did you see out there today, and what are you kind of expecting?
I think the Lions are going to lead the league, or at least be top 3 in pre-snap motion. Like they really are motioning a lot, and you will see Montgomery and Gibbs on the field more. Like I think it only happened 10 times last year.
That's crazy.
I know, right? It really is. And you see Gibbs working with the receivers. You see Gibbs really putting in that work. Him and Vaki, I really do get your best guys on the field, especially when it's someone like Jahmyr Gibbs, who is a matchup nightmare wherever he is. And then you've got someone like Montgomery, who would start for probably 20-plus teams in the NFL as their RB1. So I just get them on the field more. It's got to be more than 10 snaps this year. Like, I don't even care if it's only 30 snaps this year. Like, pick your spots for that, because if you can have St. Brown, Williams, Laporta, Gibbs, and Montgomery on the field at the same time, like, have fun. Like, seriously, defense, have fun with that.
Yeah, I believe it was during the last preseason game. I think Danny Rodgers was interviewing David Montgomery and saying, is that tough with you guys can't be on the same field at the same time? And he's like, yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
So we've been hearing the rumors. We can't wait to see it. I know you didn't watch the defense, but you presumably got to see the 11-on-11s, and you got to see how the defense did against against Houston in those situations. What did you see there?
The one full situation I got to watch with the Texans first team, with the Lions first team, the Texans had to settle for a 57-yard field goal, and they started at the 40-yard line. I mean, it was Jack Campbell had a great pass block up. I forget what running back was targeted, but it was just a beautiful pass break up, and then just little 5-yard gains that got him a first down and into field goal range. But yeah, like the one full team drill I saw forced a 57-yard field goal, which he made. Very impressive kick. And then
that is.
Yeah, and just good news for the defense was that Kirby Joseph was back today and had an interception on his second snap back. That was the one snap I saw. So it's like, all right, they're going to be all right. I mean, seriously, the defense, I mean, as long as the defensive line can stay healthy, that's a real strength. The linebackers are perfectly meshed together, and this secondary's got top 5 potential. It really does. Like, I really love the construction of this defense this year.
I mean, I do too, and that's incredible. We're saying that without Aleem McNeil, Levi Onwuzurike, or Josh Paschal in the starting lineup right now, and you're like, but that front four is incredible. Like you said, we can stay healthy, and some of those guys are going to come back at some point. So, Well, you brought up special teams with kicking. I heard Jake Bates made his field goals, so I guess the only thing to talk about there is he's probably even more confident. He's probably looking pretty good. Unless you have anything to add, I want to go to the kick return game.
Yeah, Jake Bates is Jake Bates. He's going to be more than fine. Like, seriously, he has a couple hiccups here and there, mostly from short distance, but like from distance, I mean, that's a really special talent, and it really seems like there's even more room to grow there. But yeah, he should be feeling confident.
That's exciting. And, I guess staying with the kicking game for just a moment here, is I've heard that, from the Lions coaching staff, is that they really limited what they did with him on kickoffs last year because he was so green and they just wanted him to focus on the field goal kicking, that we might see a lot more with kickoffs. Have you seen stuff in practice with the kickoffs, or have any idea what they might be trying to do that you're allowed to talk about?
Yeah, for sure. It's been mostly Bates handling kickoffs. Like, I'm trying to remember a Jack Fox kickoff, and I can't do it. Like, I really do. And I think they have tried some things about kicking low, like you got the landing zone and the new rules and all like that. And I think if they want to kick it out of the back of the end zone and not even give him a chance to return, Bates has got that power every single time. And it really does seem like his variety of kickoffs has grown too. And I mean, you got the best special teams coordinator in the game and Dave Phipp working with him. And I mean, he's just a mastermind at that stuff. I mean, there's nothing to worry about with Hatton, Fox, or Bates. Like, seriously, like, it's the best. That trio is unbelievable how young they are. I mean, there hasn't been in-house competition for either of those guys in back-to-back years. Like, that speaks to how much trust there is in those three.
For sure. And I do think with the kickoff rule being another 5 yards, and now that Bates, they're giving him more time, I think they're going to intentionally make people return more, which I think most of the league will. And I think the Lions wanted to last year. It just, the Lions coaches are going to put players in positions to succeed. And that would have been too much on his plate, I think, last year.
Yeah. And they got some head seekers on that kick unit. I mean, Grant Stewart and Dorsey coming back. I mean, Grant Stewart, he's going to become a fan favorite if he's not already. Like, seriously, I mean, he is a 150% at all times type of player, and he's going to have some big hits on those kick coverage.
Yeah, I expect that to be the case. Now, he's also been on the return side of it. I heard he had another fumble again today, and I don't know if that's his second or his third one, but that is starting to draw concerns from some people. That running style, I wouldn't want to try and tackle that guy. Well, I wouldn't want to try and tackle any NFL player. Let's just get that clear. But that running style is going to be one that, is going to take a lot to bring the guy down. How are your thoughts on the return game? Is it going to be him and Sione Vaki?
I hope it's Stewart and Vaki. Like, I really do, because if Vaki is catching most of those returns with Grant Stewart as your lead blocker, that's a very, very good thing to have. I wrote about that actually today, and I was like, dang, I'm just like cursing people. His first return rep today, he fumbles, but like, because I asked Dave Phipp, like, what made you do this? And Stewart played fullback in his college days. They saw how he ran. They saw the explosion. They saw what you see. I mean, running through people. And he's like, yep, we see something here. Like, yeah, of course, he fumbled the opener in the Hall of Fame game, but that's on us because it's time to work on ball security more and teach this linebacker how to carry the ball. So it's an innovation and something they tried out of necessity with Vaki hurt and keeping Raymond a punt return in the offense, but I'm all for it. I mean, you don't want him as your primary kickoff returner. You'd like to see that ball in Vaki's hands, but Stewart has got something. I mean, he really does have something there. I mean, shoot, he had that 38-yarder in the Hall of Fame game on his second try too, and it's just about getting him used to seeing lanes and protecting the ball. And I mean, it's a fullback. I mean, they have a fullback at kick returner, and I absolutely love it because that's the most Dan Campbell thing you could think of.
And he's a fast fullback at that as well. That's the crazy thing. He's like got that hybrid ability.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I want to see them continue to explore that. Like, obviously, you can't have the fumbles the way they have, but
yeah,
I like it with this new kickoff setup too because the speeds are matched up more. It's not one side barreling down at 50 miles an hour and the other side just getting started. I mean, you're starting at the same speed and get a little power back there, and good luck.
Well, that's what I've said to people. It's not the elusive, I use Mel Gray as a reference where you just have to make everybody miss. Now it's going to be you have to break a tackle or two to bust through that line and maybe think of it more of a rugby style play.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, seriously, that's I think that they've embraced because they were all about these rules too, and I think you see why them trying to try stuff out. Like, there's not a true fullback on this roster, and maybe if there was, that's who would be back there. But they found a linebacker and turned him into a kick returner. So more power to them.
All right, well, let's briefly talk about the 53-man roster because that's going to happen here. The Lions are getting some guys healthy, which is great, but that's also changing the calculus on what's going to be available. At the press conference today, Campbell said there's going to be some really tough decisions. He acknowledged that. He also referenced the practice squad, which I think he calls the vet squad a lot, and he goes, those 16 players go with the 53. He said their minds are not made up on everybody. His eyes are wide open. So it's going to take it down to this final game. There's some young guys that can make the next jump to maybe get on there. But let's start with that third quarterback thing. Hendon Hooker is a guy that has 2 years left on his rookie deal. This is arguably his second season, because that first year he was recovering from the injury. He's a guy that a lot of people don't think will make it through to the practice squad. But if he is kept on the 53-man, you know he's not going to see action because he's the number 3 quarterback. So that's going to then force you to go thinner. And Campbell even talked about that at either wide receiver or defensive line or whatever. And so you alluded to your thoughts already. You want to kind of go into that? I mean, there's so many elements. It's not just, is he good enough to keep? It's how does it affect the rest of the roster? And if they want to win now, how important is that extra guy?
Yeah, and if you're making me pick between Hendon Hooker and Keith Cooper, I'm picking Keith Cooper. If you're making me pick between Hendon Hooker and Nate Lynn, I'm picking Nate Lynn. If you're making me pick between Hendon Hooker and Eric Hallett, I'm picking Eric Hallett, just because there are needs, especially in that defensive line, because Campbell said about Wingo today, yeah, he's back at practice, but he's not going to do any team drills, probably won't play in the preseason game. I would say he's not going to play in the preseason game based on what we heard today. And Josh Paschal, I mean, they thought he was going to be back practicing in September. I think it's very likely he opens the season on that NFI list that he's on right now, and that means that'll be 4 weeks without practice, without playing, and they're going to have to use a 21-day window to activate him after 4 weeks. But you need defensive linemen, you need edge rushers, you need Keith Cooper, you might need Ukwu, you might need Nate Lynn. You might need all 3 of those guys, and you can't do that if Hendon Hooker or a 6 wide receiver makes this roster. Like, it would be a tough decision. And I'll say 99.9% that Hendon Hooker would absolutely get claimed by someone. So if you cut him, he's gone.
Yeah. So you have to decide, do you want to hold on to him for that development? I mean, I think he's going to stay. I think they're going to keep him. And I think you said you think Brad Holmes will do that as well, because you know the calculus, which is he's not going to make it through. Somebody who needs something, because the story is not written. It's not finalized on Hendon Hooker yet. So, and they've seen growth in him, from last year to this year. I've heard reports that he's been great in camp, just hasn't translated to the preseason thing. And so the tough thing is you have a talented enough guy that if you need Kyle Allen as your backup. Hendon's not there. And so you can't just put Jake Fromm on your practice squad and have Hendon as your number 2 and then call somebody up on game day or something.
No, I know. And it is. I mean, they gave up capital. They spent a 3rd-round pick to get him. There are 2 very team-friendly years left on that rookie contract. Like, I get it. And the way he opened camp was great, but there's just been something after that Hall of Fame game. It's just been old habits. I've seen more of that. I'll call it last season was his rookie season technically, because he was a redshirt that whole first year. Like, you see that guy more than you saw the guy that opened camp. And that's why it's kind of like, if this were any other team, you would absolutely have a spot for him. But like with some of the other needs with a Super Bowl contending team, it's kind of like it's tough. But yeah, I think he'll make it through. I think there will be 3 quarterbacks on the 53-man roster, and that's going to come at the expense of, honestly, probably a 6 wide receiver, in my opinion.
Well, that's the next thing I got is there's 7 wide receivers that Lions fans think probably should be on this roster. I mean, Dominic Lovett got drafted, so he's probably that number 6 wide receiver. And you've got Jackson Meeks doing everything to show he should be on the roster. He's kind of like the Isaiah Williams from last year. And the Lions held Williams, and then, he got taken at one point. But do the Lions keep 7? Do you think, or, is that one calculus of Hendon Hooker the thing that changes it? And if they don't keep Jackson Meeks, does Meeks get claimed on waivers by somebody else?
I think if you cut Meeks, he's going to get claimed just because he's 6'2", he's 218 pounds. I mean, he is the better receiver than Dominic Lovett right now, but Dominic Lovett could help them out on special teams more than Jackson Meeks would. Right now, I mean, I'll do my final roster this weekend, but honestly, with the fact that they're probably going to keep 3 quarterbacks and the Paschal and the Wingle updates on the defensive line, I think they're just going to keep 5 wide receivers because, I mean,
5.
I think it would stink to lose those guys, but I think that there are other needs elsewhere. And the 5 wide receivers they have, that's not a weakness. Like, it's the furthest thing from a weakness. That's kind of the way I'm looking at it. These are the tough decisions. Like, yeah, maybe they could make a deal with someone like Pat O'Connor and not have him on the 53 man, but say, hey, you're on the practice squad. We're going to call you up so we can keep one of these receivers. But like, just sitting here right now, Thursday night, I'm like, man, you could keep those 5 wide receivers and be fine. Like,
so you're thinking Dominic Lovett's out as well then?
I think Dominic Lovett, the special teams ability is going to give him a chance, but I think if they kept a 6 wide receiver, it would be Jackson Meeks. Just because
over Dominic, okay.
The 6'2", 218, the receiving ability in a pinch, but like, and somebody brought it up today, like if they let those 2 guys go, there's a guy that's going to be on that practice squad that has filled those roles for 5 years, Tom Kennedy, that knows the offense, has played on offense, that has played on special teams. Like it's just one of those things. I would love to keep both those guys. I like Lovett. I like Meeks a lot. I mean, seriously, but you need a Keith Cooper. You need an Ukwu. You need Al Hallett, maybe a Whiteside. Like I just think the needs at other spots are greater than receiver and quarterback. And like I said, I think there's going to be 3 quarterbacks, and that's got to come at the expense of somebody. Like I wouldn't be shocked if it's 6 wide receivers, but I'll say this right now. I don't see 7 wide receivers on this roster. Like I don't see that. That's going to be the toughest call. And the only way they're going to save one or both of those guys is if it's a veteran that's got more than 4 years of service time that can pick where they want to go. That's not subject to waivers, like a Pat O'Connor or someone like that, or a Zach Cunningham, and like, hey, trust us, we'll get you up, but we've got to do this out of the gates. Like that's the only chance those guys are making it. Like it's tough. That's a bummer. They've both earned spots in my opinion, but this roster's tight. It's tighter than ever. It's more talented than ever. And there are specific needs where they need depth. Like they need depth, edge depth. They need edge depth so bad right now. And Cooper kind of fills the Pascal role if they needed it inside outside. And I really think Nate Lynn has played himself onto the roster too.
Well, and Dan Campbell also talked about all those injuries they went through last year kind of affects them a little bit on their calculus and makes them think a little bit, okay, it gets them to just rethink a little bit and just, take that into consideration. The crazy thing is, so Tim Patrick, obviously, it's good to see that he's had a good week of practice because, he's a veteran, he has experience, and he'll play a vital role in this offense and a guy that can be counted on and very reliable. The Jackson Meeks and Dominic Lovett, I mean, they're almost like, if you keep them this year, you're doing it because they're going to be main contributors next year. And Tim Patrick's on the 1-year deal. Khalif Raymond is in the last year of his deal. And you would have them so inexpensive. But it's that thing. It's like, is there room to make it happen? And so it's tough. And I see your point is, if you don't think Hendon Hooker is going to be there, that, be contributing in the next 2 years for your team, then you take these guys because that will help you in the future. But it's a real tough decision, and that's why neither you or I are Brad Holmes.
No, exactly, because if you're planning for 2026, 27, and Tim Patrick and Khalif Raymond aren't here, Jackson Meeks and Dominic Lovett would be 2 pretty nice guys to fill those roles. I mean, Lovett's got the return experience, the gunner experience. Jackson Meeks has got seriously pure receiving ability. I mean, a lot of people are like, yeah, you can find another Lovett in the draft next year, but I mean, the kid has played well outside of the abdominal injury that cost him 10 days and a couple of ball security things. Like, you can't hold much against him. It is tough. I mean, in an ideal world, they'd make it. They'd find a way. They would. But I really do think, yeah. And Dan said that about Brad today, is that he's got 100% hit rate on knowing who's going to get claimed and not get claimed. And that's like, love it. Maybe you could sneak him through, pick 244, undersized, maybe special teams guy. But I really do think what Meeks has done in the preseason with his size, ability to kind of play every spot, like, I think he'd be gone. Like, I really do. I think there is a small chance they could get Lovett on the practice squad, but I think if Meeks is cut, he's gone.
Yeah, especially what he's shown in the preseason. And then, like you said, Campbell talked about Brad knows who'll get claimed or not. And there might be a spot where they realize the guy is going to get claimed, but there's nothing they can do about it. And so they may have to come to that conclusion. You mentioned veterans. I got to throw this out there. It's a wild one, but any chance Tim Patrick would allow himself to go that route of getting cut to the practice squad like he was last year when he got signed by the Lions? Or is that kind of a disservice to Patrick for what he's done and where he's at?
I don't think that's going to happen just because I think he would lose all of his incentives on his contract with that. And I don't think that would go over very well.
I would agree with you because he took a very team-friendly deal, too. I mean, and again, that's where he's at in his career, but it's really good for both sides. And he wanted to play in Detroit.
And I still have confidence in him. I really do. I think he can be your wide receiver 3. Tesla's coming, no doubt about it. But, like, in the way Tim Patrick has looked this last week, it's like, all right, Tim's still here. That's still Tim Patrick. Like, he's never going to burn by anybody. But, like, with Jared Goff in this offense, you need that Josh Reynolds type over the middle. And I think Tim Patrick can be that guy. And if he's healthy and he's able, I mean, that's a legit red zone target, like, because he's going to be the 4th or 5th option on the field, getting guarded by the 4th or 5th option on the opposing defense. And that's a pretty good situation.
Exactly. Yeah, I like Tim Patrick a lot. I was thrilled when the Lions grabbed him last year. My uncle and cousin are big Broncos fans, and they were happy and saying, you're going to like him. So, and the veteran experience, and if you want that postseason run, you want him. So just wanted to get that one out of the way because I've been hearing that as well. The other area then, I guess, I know you talked about Keith Cooper and the line and stuff, but the secondary is an interesting spot because you've got some guys that are making noise that nobody thought. And the 3, you've already mentioned them all, is, Hallett, Whiteside, and Kennelly. And what are your thoughts on these guys? Are all of them destined for the practice squad? Does one of them now with this calculus have a shot at still making the 53-man? And I'm going to throw a third let's just start with those 2.
Yeah. I think Hallett has worked his way onto the roster. I really have. What he's done in the slot, outside at cornerback, back deep at safety, he's earned it. I have a personal favorite in Whiteside, but I don't think he's going to make the 53. That's an ideal practice squad guy. And Kennelly, it's interesting with him. The main problem with getting Kennelly on the roster is how much they've been playing Rock Ya-Sin and Avonte Maddox between slot, between safety. With both those guys getting safety experience, that's you could be okay there. I think you could be okay. Like, I like Kennelly. Like, that's a big athlete. There's some untapped potential there for sure. But that's a guy I feel like could make the practice squad. Like, I have a hard time looking around the league and seeing someone using a waiver claim on someone like him. Like, that's a local prospect, not very well known outside of here. We'll see, though. I mean, he's got a chance to make that 50. If you're making me pick between Lawrence Strickland and Kennelly, I'm picking Kennelly. So we'll see. The math has to add up, but I do think Eric Hallett's in. I think Hallett is in.
All right. And do you think Hallett, if he doesn't get in, or Whiteside, do you think either of those guys would potentially get claimed?
Maybe Hallett, but no, I think if you cut those guys, they could be there. Like, I really do think that they could be there. Hallett, much better chance at getting claimed just because kind of his versatility and his play in the preseason has been really good. And he has, I really do think he's just in, though. He's been repping with the 1s when Kirby was out. He's been repping with the 2s a lot. And he's just someone who's bought into that Swiss Army knife mentality, and they need some of that. They need that. They've got it with Rock, Maddox, and Hallett. That's a good combination to have between corner and safety.
All right. Well, then I was going to ask you if there's any other players that you think need to show something in this final game to further make their case for the roster. And there's one name I have to throw out at you. You've heard it all training camp, and that's Broderick Martin.
Well, that's the name I was going to say.
Does he need to show more yet, you think?
Yeah, Broderick's on the wrong side of the bubble right now. I think this is Broderick's last chance. He had some good moments today. He's had some bright moments here and there, but I really think that Saturday's preseason game, I mean, if he wants a spot, he's got to earn it. Like, I really think the clock is ticking on there.
All right. Any other thoughts on the roster or expectations for you have any of these players going into the final preseason game? Or this?
If Hendon's going to be on this roster, he's got to be clean. He's got to operate the offense. I would love to see Hendon get 3 quarters on Saturday, to be completely honest with you. Like, I think you could play him the whole game. Like, you know what you have in Kyle Allen. I think he's your locked-in QB2. You give Hendon a full game. Well, who's that going to hurt? Like, seriously.
Right. I agree.
I mean, yeah. I just want to see ball security. I want to see, sometimes he gets into that Tennessee mode where he sits in the pocket waiting for a receiver to get open. You can't really do that in the NFL. Other times he's decided who he's going to throw it to before the ball gets snapped. It's the mental side for him because, like, I don't know if it's a confidence thing. I don't know if it's the time missed, jumping from the Tennessee offense to this intricate Lions offense. it's a lot of things going on. I just show that arm talent, protect the ball, quit thinking too much, quit dancing in the pocket. And when you scramble, if you want, like Campbell said, if you want to be a runner, protect that ball like a runner. Like it really is about ball security for him, and just take care of the ball. What he was doing in that 2-minute drill to end the game last week was fantastic. Obviously ended with the pick. Just a heck of a play by that Dolphins guy, that Ethan Armstrong or whatever his name was. Just look like that guy. Quick fire decisions, looking through your reads, protecting the ball, obviously up until the pick. But like, yeah, I would play Hendon all 4 quarters.
I agree with you on that. There's nothing else you need to see from Kyle Allen. I don't know if he needs any more reps or not. He's looked great in camp. So do you do predictions? If you do for the season, I kind of want to know, do you have any idea on how you think the NFC North is going to shake down this year? And were you accurate last year on your predictions?
I was. I picked the Lions to go 6-0 in the North, and they did. And
nice.
I think it's going to be much tighter this year, but I think it's going to be much tighter between the Lions and the Packers. I think there will be a 2 or 3 win gap with the Vikings, and I think the Bears are still the last place team, but I do expect growth out of them. But I think it's Lions, Packers, gap, Vikings, smaller gap, Bears.
All right.
I think the Lions are winning the North. I think they're winning the North again, 3 in a row.
All right. Well, is there anything I haven't asked you that you'd like to share? I've asked you a ton. You've shared a ton, but I got to put that out there.
I think we're good. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Ben, I mentioned you cover the Detroit Lions for MLive. You're part of the Dungeon of Doom podcast. Where can listeners find your work the easiest?
MLive.com/Lions. I am on Twitter/X at Benjamin S. Raven, and all our Dungeon of Doom podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. We're on YouTube. It's everywhere. I've also got a weekly newsletter with MLive now coming out, the Weekly Roar. Sign up for that. You get a personalized column for myself or Corey every week. Good stuff like that.
Awesome, Ben. Thank you so much for your time and all the insights. This has been a lot of fun.
All right. Thank you.
Once again, a huge thank you to Ben Raven from MLive for joining and sharing his insights. Folks, reminder, tell your friends, tell your family. You can find us on all major streaming platforms, including YouTube. We'd love to hear your thoughts and reviews. You can check out more episodes and content at notthesameoldlions.com. And until next time, stay gritty, my friends.